This video is a brief introduction to some important and exciting new functionality in TRAC called transit time. Nearly every plant facility has some off-site locations that are physically separated by a highway, railroad, river, or other obstruction. These locations may be tank farms, marine terminals, warehouses, fabrication sites, laydown yard, and so on. When contractors move between locations, they incur time off-site, which TRAC calculates as non-billable. Legitimate business travel between locations creates the need for override requests. The purpose of transit time functionality is to reduce the number of exceptions and facilitate reporting of lost time productivity. Transit time is defined as the smaller of the allowable maximum time as configured in the transit time table, or the actual time between gates when a contractor moves from one location to another. For example, if the allowable time between gates is 15 minutes and the actual time is 12 minutes, the contractor will be granted 12 minutes of transit time. The maximum to be granted would be 15 minutes regardless of the actual time between gates. The benefits of using transit time in TRAC enables you to remove the guesswork by providing you with complete control of the allowable transit time between perimeter gates. Now you also have increased visibility to the number of people traveling between gates. By analyzing how much time is spent in transit, you can look for ways to increase workforce productivity. Planning and scheduling the work using transit time data helps you better plan the work at each plant, thereby optimizing the time people are traveling between gates. Reduce the timekeeper and TRAC admin workloads as shown here on the override window by reducing the number of overrides in TRAC and the time required to calculate the legitimate time traveled between perimeter gates. TRAC will calculate transit time when the contractor exits an out reader at one location and enters an in reader at another location. This calculation happens only for the out-in gate pairs configured in the transit time table. The smaller of the configured allowable time, or the actual time between gates, is presented to the pay formula in the transit time token. If multiple trips occur within a timesheet date, the value in the token will be the total of all granted transit time allowances. Using the value in the token, the pay formula can choose to adjust net billable time according to the contract terms and conditions. The transit time table should have an entry for each pair of out and in readers to be used by contractors as they move between locations. The table associates an out reader at one location with an in reader at another location and defines the allowable maximum time that can be granted for travel. As in the example shown here, you may not want to configure all possible combinations of gates. Instead, you would configure only the gate pairs that contractors will be permitted to use from location to location. The transit time table is located under the Settings tab through to the Configuration, Access Control, Transit Time Devices submenus. Permissions for this page are controlled by the same security profile rules that permit access to the Devices page where access control panels and readers are defined. First, enter an easily identifiable transit name. Then, select an out panel and reader from the drop-down list, select an in panel and reader from the drop-down list, and enter the maximum time to be allowed for the trip. Whenever a contractor exits an out gate and enters an in gate configured as a transit pair, the smaller of the maximum allowable time, or the actual trip time, will be presented to the pay formula in the transit time token. The pay formula should be edited as noted to adjust net billable time. This simply means adding the value of the transit time token to TRAC's calculated time on site. If multiple qualifying trips occur within a timesheet date, the value in the token will be the sum of the transit times for all trips. Pay formulas should only be modified according to the contract terms and conditions. Modify only the pay formulas needed and never grant transit time in a runner pay formula. The results of transit time calculation can be displayed on the labor details screen by defining a pay type, for example, transit time, and assigning the value of the transit time token to the pay type variable. As shown in the example, the contractor badged out and into a location defined in the transit time table. Because the contractor was off-site for 22 minutes on what should be considered a billable time, the transit time allowance was calculated as 0.37 hours. The pay formula adjusted the net billable time to the allowance for transit time. That concludes an introduction to transit time in TRAC. I hope this has been helpful information. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us at the TRAC Customer Support Help Desk. Thank you for viewing this video, and remember, your feedback is always welcome.